Welcome to another edition of Play It Through, and this time around it's Battle of Olympus, brought to us by Broderbund and Infinity Games. Now Infinity, the developer, only made a few games, including this one, Populous 1 and 2, and Ultima 6. But Broderbund published many great PC titles, as well as Guardian Legend and Legacy of the Wizard, two of my other favorite NES games. Now this game, Battle of Olympus, is one of my all-time favorites. Doesn't matter what system, this is one of my favorite games. It may have to do that it's a Zelda 2 clone, which I'm a huge fan of Zelda 2. It may also have to do with the fact that it has to do with Greek mythology, which is one of the subject matters that not too many games were taking a hold of back then in the NES era. But either way, it doesn't matter, this game is great, and I've been looking forward to playing it for a long time. So let's get going with my play it through of Battle of Olympus. And you see Battle of Olympus slowly rising up, as we're going to see the Parthenon in the background there. It's a great way to start off this game. We also, in this game, you can either continue with a password system or just start a new game. The password system in this game is ridiculous. It's one of those extremely long passwords that you can never remember, and if you write down you'll get confused because O's and zeros and all that kind of stuff. But you get to enter your name, which you are referred to in the game a few times, so it's nice to be able to enter your name. At first, I wasn't quite sure if you could actually pick between hero or heroine, but you're the hero, and your girlfriend that you're saving in the game, the whole real point of the game is you're saving the heroine. But when you first turn on the game, you may not exactly know which one is which, or if it matters what you name them. Either way, on Corn, I named the heroine Iris, just a random name that I like, and I saw on that's Greek, so I went with it. The gameplay is very much like Zelda 2. You're running through each screen as it scrolls through, using just short-ranged weapons. You also can upgrade your weapons, two of them, to have an extra attack. One of which shoots a little lightning bolt out, the other one is a cane that shoots a fireball that hits the ground and it burns on the ground for a little bit. But as I'm just going to go through and I'm going to start actually getting into the game, I want to explain a few things about this run. I'm not doing a 100% run, and the only reason I'm not doing a 100% run, because it will require a lot of item grinding, building up my money. The red circles at the top screen, you can see on the left side of my item selection screen, those are olives. That's the money of this game. And you are required to get a lot of them. You have to get a bunch of them to get two specific items. You must pay to buy 2 items in the game. So those 2 things I will be grinding, unfortunately, to get the money in order to buy them. So that is going to take a couple minutes, probably about 5 minutes total out of the entire run. If I was going to get every item, I was probably going to have to spend 10 to 15 minutes grinding, building up my olives, and then buying the items if I want to get everything in the game. And I just, I went through, I did it a couple times, and I found that you really only need these 2 items. The other one's the best weapon in the game, and that update for the spell, I don't really need the Gib. I only need to get 2 weapons. So maybe in a bonus thing I will show the best weapon in the game if anyone would like that. But you don't really need it to beat the game, so I decided if I didn't need it, I'll just go through with as minimal stuff. It does make the game a little bit more challenging, but hey, at least it makes it probably a little bit more interesting in that way. This is one of those games where it's, unless you know already, you played it a bunch of times, and you've talked to every single civilian in the game, you don't know where to go. But what I'm going to start off by doing is I'm going to go get a shield, which will help me block, especially those little arrows you just saw, those little purple guys are throwing at me, those little spears that they're throwing at me. I can block them with this shield. And it's free, it doesn't cost anything, so I might as well go ahead and grab the shield. You actually end up getting it from the goddess Athena. So that's pretty cool. I am not an expert at Greek mythology. I wouldn't claim to be. And so if I pronounce a name wrong in the game, I apologize. I'm not trying to, I'm just saying it the way it seems like it would be said to me. Anyway, our first goal is to get this shield from Athena, and then we're going to go battle a lamia, or a naga, or a Medusa-esque creature, aka a woman's body on a snake's tail. That's what we're going to battle first. So here we go. You see that in front of each goddess, I met Zeus once, who tells you to go ahead and go on your mission. But you have to actually kneel down and press the talk button in order to speak to the gods, which is a little bit of a nice little thing. But it took me a few seconds. I remember, when I first started, I haven't played this game for a long time before I started doing this run. And I was like, I forgot how to talk to the gods. And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. You have to kneel down and talk to them through that way. So it's a little neat touch, I guess you could say, that goes along with it. Now that we got our shield, I'm going to go ahead and go battle with that lamia, the naga serpent. And by doing so, I'm going to be able to get a staff, which we're going to need in order to progress through the forest. I'm not sure if you absolutely need the staff. This is one of those items where I'm not positive if you absolutely need it or not, but it's a boss battle that doesn't take, I don't have to collect or grind anything, so I decided to go ahead and might as well do this. It's always when I first do it. Also gets me warmed up when doing these runs, because some of these battles in this game, like Zelda 2, are challenging. It takes a lot of timing and precision to get through it. Now here we go with the first battle against this Naga, Lamia. And my strategy for the battle is when you actually can get up close, you wait for the exact second before she shoots, jump over it and hit her on the way back down. After only a few hits, she's taken care of. I save this little boy who's in a cave. He doesn't come with me or anything, but he's just in that cave. And anyway, by talking to him, he's freed now. So the whole point of freeing him was to go for his mother or whatever is going to give us that staff, which you could visit the mother before and she would tell you to go battle the Lamia. So it was a little extra thing that I didn't need to do, because, hey, I didn't need to talk to her to fight it, so didn't have to waste that little extra time. So anyway, she's grateful, of course, for saving her kid or whatever. So either way, she gives us the staff, which is our second weapon. There's only 4 weapons in the game, and I'm going to get 3 of the 4, like I mentioned earlier. But that third weapon is a nice sword that actually is going to be pretty effective against everything, so I didn't have to worry about that final sword in the end, but it just would have made things probably a couple seconds shorter in certain battles, but the extra time of collecting all the olives just wouldn't have been worth it. So we have the second weapon, and this is the weapon actually that can shoot fire out, but we have to first learn how to shoot the fire out. So we have to actually travel a little bit to find out how to shoot the fire, so that's where we're heading off to now. And the good thing is, where we have to go, we actually have to get into something else as well while we're there, so we get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by traveling to this area. And the area that we are traveling to is Argolis, or Argolis. Like I said, I'm not positive on pronunciations of certain words, but Argolis is how I guess I'll say it from here on out. And by going there, it's like a series of caves, basically, which we're going to have to go to several times during the course of the run. It's one of those games where you're doing backtracking, you're going to areas multiple times in order, because, hey, you went somewhere and then all of a sudden they're telling you, well, you got to go back to somewhere else because now there's a guy there who's going to give you something. It's one of those types of situations. So here is like the cave setting, the mountainous cave area of Argolis. Here, not only will we learn how to use the fire, we also have to talk to a god, but unfortunately the guy won't be here right now, and we'll have to go back to Zeus, who we met very early in the run while I was just talking about explaining how the game was going to go, and we go back there to get an item, but you have to come here first in order to find out that, hey, guess what, that guy isn't here right now. So that's what I'm going to do first. You saw at the very beginning, before I entered the caves, there was 2 entrances. That left entrance, which we'll go back to when we go out of this place, is where we will find out how to use the staff fire. So hey look, Hermes is not here right now. He went to Zeus because Zeus summoned him for whatever reason. Just to make sure that I had to now go backtrack back to Zeus and talk to Zeus again in order to get the item which I need. Which he actually ends up giving us the sandals, which is one of the cooler weapons or cooler items in the game. It allows us basically to flip upside down and actually walk along the ceiling. So it's a nice cool little added effect. One of the cooler items in the game. Now that we talked to the guy who's kind of hanging out in Hermes' temple, we'll go into the other cave now to go meet with the old man, the father of that one woman that we saved the kid for, and he's going to explain to us how to use the fire ability, which is up and the attack button, but since I don't know it yet in the game, I can't use it. It's one of those situations. Kind of exactly the same as Zelda 2, where you had to learn spells in order to do certain things. It's kind of similar, but I don't have to keep selecting to use the spell. Here's another boss. It's just a lion boss that runs at us head first, 3 hits, it's taken care of, done, goodbye. Anyway, old guy in a cave, talk to him, he's Prometheus, and he's going to tell us how to do the fire move. Prometheus, of course, gave fire to the humans. So there's a connection right there, one of the connections I do know in Greek mythology. So now that we have the fire ability, now we're going to go talk to Hermes, who's hanging out in Zeus' temple. Even though when we go there, Zeus won't be there anymore. So it's just going to be Hermes there. I guess 2 gods cannot appear on the same screen at one time in this game. So we're going to go travel back to Zeus and get the sandals, which will allow us to flip upside down, which will help us travel through a few areas. There's actually only a couple places in the whole game where you have to flip upside down, but they're a cool added item. The only problem is they're a little iffy on the controls. You basically do a full jump and hold in the jump button. It seems like an extra couple seconds, and then you end up flipping upside down. I don't know, like, I've held up and done it, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Just for some reason it won't flip every time I want it to